Welcome to the inaugural episode of Wild for Frequency, my new Facebook Live podcast show. And I am super delighted today to have the ever so beautiful, magnificent Kim Mellor on with me. Kim is a soul activator and intuitive who supports desire-led women to live in alignment with their authentic, fearless, unapologetic truth. I love that. She's here to activate your magic and empower you to go after every juicy dream with clarity, confidence, and crazy as belief. And
ass. Don't forget the ass.
Crazy ass belief.
Yeah, you got to get the ass in.
Oh, yeah, you got to. Crazy ass belief. And she's a personal friend and mentor, and she has up-leveled and supported my life in so many amazing ways. And so I am very, very touched that she is the perfect first person to be on this show that is really all about how we can use the power of frequency to live these wild soul-led lives. And so all the conversations that I will be bringing you will feature thought leaders and experts in this field of how we can harness the power of frequency to become the very best versions of ourselves, to support and empower human transformation, planetary consciousness raising, all the juicy good things, the more beautiful world our hearts know is possible. Thank you, Charles Eisenstein, for that. So that's really what I hope to bring you all here. So the focus revolves around the two things that I'm mashing together are the wildness, because I feel like this whole process, as you've all heard me speak about, is rewilding, bringing back the nature within, and harnessing the power of frequency. So I am mashing them together in Wild for Frequency. Welcome, Kim Mellor. Thank you for being the very first guest today.
I'm so honored that I'm popping your cherry.
That is so perfect. I wouldn't want it to be any other way.
Oh, I adore you. And it's truly an honor to be a witness to your leadership and expansion, and to really be in the energy of your devotion feels so good to be in your presence. So thank you for creating more ripples of permission and possibility for the world with this show.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Taking that in. So I want to start with the question of, do you remember when you shift? Because clearly you're leading a soul-led life, of which frequency is a foundational part of this life. And I imagine there was a time when there was an old way, when you maybe, bought into the beliefs of the kind of traditional medical system that is a biochemical system based, that doesn't recognize the energetic frequency based way that we see the world, and you made that shift. And I'm curious, as my lead off question is, do you remember when you made that transition and how that has felt to you? Any insights that you want to share, and when that really landed for you?
It was the 7th of the 7th, 2016. I remember it was just the most memorable day of my life, because my mum passed away, and the most just crazy experience, like having my mum pass away really suddenly. But her passing really sent me on this deep dive into spirituality and what happens when you die. So that was my first metaphysical uncovering of energy and spirit. And I went from working 80% in the hustle and 20% feeling good, energy frequency, to then, I'm not available to live any other way. Life is too short. What else is possible? Because I know there's another world, because people are being successful and they're speaking about energy, frequency, vibration, having fun. There's also people being successful doing it the other way, And so, oh, there's a choice. Yeah. So that was the first dramatic, life altering experience that really brought me to my knees and cracked me open.
Wow, that's really powerful. And so it was in fact the obvious challenge, the biggest, probably biggest challenge of your whole life, I'm imagining, maybe
Mm,
mom passing or
yeah,
most.
because I was still very much in the physical body, like
Mm-hmm,
mainly related to the 3D. I
mm-hmm.
was starting to be interested in manifestation, vision boards, and, you know, 101 manifestation, but I didn't have an embodied felt experience. It was just more of a concept. And
Yeah.
then when she passed away, I could feel her, and I started to just have different experiences and synchronicities that made me create more of a context of, oh yeah, okay. So this is kind of how it works.
So her passing opened a portal for you to feel more because you wanted to feel her. Is that it? Not putting words in your mouth, but I'm trying to understand, like, so this shift actually opens you up more to the energetic world in order to connect with her. Is that it? Or just
Yeah. And I think I wanted to understand what happens when you die. She can't be gone. I can still feel her.
yeah,
Where is she? Where's she gone?
yeah,
And then I started to tap into Deepak Chopra, Gabrielle Bernstein, Marianne Williamson, um, all of these amazing teachers who are talking a lot about energy and what happens when you die. And I think it was Wayne Dyer that was talking about, like, you can't wait to die. It's
yeah,
also so excited to pass away because I'm just an eternal being that is continually never ending. And I was like, oh wow. Oh, it just put so much more peace to my soul, knowing that we are all energy. We are in this human body having a human experience, but we're physical beings having this experience.
yeah, yeah, beautiful. And so then that experience with your mom that really was the pivotal shift I'm hearing, though, wasn't necessarily, you also went through some health challenges of which frequency has played a really big part in those shifts. Where I'm guessing, well, I know from our work together, working with quantum, frequency technology like Healy, really came into your life. Can you talk a little bit about the more of the health piece of when you started to work with frequency for the first time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I heard about Healy for the first time in 2020. My friend Sarah Blacker, I could see how her health was shifting and how her life was shifting and how she was talking about creating in this new way, in a way that was honoring the feminine. And I was not ready to receive it. She spoke to me many times about it, and I was like, I'm not ready. I didn't resonate. So, what that tells me is my body wasn't ready to receive the frequency of the truth that I am the creator of my life, the truth that I am frequency. And I trusted at the time I didn't resonate with it. And this is why we always say, Healy chooses you, it resonates with you. So when people come into the field, I'm always like, I'm curious, where are you in your life and what is your next evolution? Because Healy comes in at a time that supports us in that. And I remember I was in Bali. I had just burnt myself out from building a business very much from my ego and my grasping. And I feel that was my last hurrah. My last hurrah. My ego wanted a final salute of I just wanted to just hold on to my identity. And then it was forced to let go through many different circumstances. And I hit a rock bottom and I was completely burnt out. I questioned everything. I was like, what is going on? My business was flying, like sold out retreat, 6-figure business, all the kind of stuff, and then just flatlined. And I prayed and I
Mm,
said, God, if you're there, show me. Like, I am so done with chasing the egotistical desires. I'm ready to be of bigger service. Show
mm,
me. Show me
mm,
whatever you bring to me. I will devote my life to. And that's when, for the first time ever, I felt my spirit baby. I felt the spirit of my baby boy who wants to come inside. And he was saying, right, I'm ready to come through. It's about time you felt me. You've been so busy just lone wolfing, just trying to prove that you can beat the men and do all the things. And I'm coming through, but you've got to do things differently. It's time to change. And I was like, oh, okay. And I felt this, well, I felt and I saw this vision of community and weaving, and how I got to do business in a very, very different way, in a way that I didn't have to compromise or feel depleted, in a way that would still provide an abundance of money and wealth and riches. Because I know I'm here to really bridge that gap between spirituality and the material world, and be evidence of what's possible when heart-centered people are wealthy, they're rich, they have money, they have a good relationship. You know, we do good things with it.
Right.
So I just had this vision of, wow, like creating these beautiful, abundant months of money and wealth, and also feeling nourished. And that's when Healy came. Healy then became a full, but out of nowhere, I'd not spoken to Sarah for months about Healy. And I was like, I'm ready. And as soon as I said yes to the mission, these names started to drop in. And I was like, whoa, I had these visions of people. And so I was just like voice noting people. And I was like, listen, you might think I'm crazy. I'm in Bali. I'm at rock bottom. And I prayed. And this is what's happening. This is my vision. This is what is happening. And I just saw all these visions of these lights being turned on around the world, of people remembering and coming home to themselves and rewriting the script on money and wealth and healing generations of trauma. And people were like, whoa, whatever this device is, I'm in. Some people said, you were in my dream last night. And I was like, okay, this is divine. It happened so easily. And I had like 5 people who bought the device off me in like the first week, and I didn't even have the device in my hand. And I was like, that's bonkers.
Yeah. That's such a cool story. I just love that story. And I love that you prayed. I mean, I love that you know, that place where we get to the bottom, that's the real surrender, right? Like we're in the space where there's really nothing else to do but that. And then to feel the power of your story and the way that the universe came in and answered your call, and you're now here of a shining light of service, and you know, and my life in so many lives. It's such a beautiful test. Thank you for listening, Kim. Thank you for hitting rock bottom and doing something else.
Right? Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. And you know, this is a really important piece, is there is challenge in life. If you put your hand up and you are here to just realize your potential and experience the depth of life in your soul, you're going to go through challenge. And that is a huge piece of what we speak to in our community, is actually thriving is the ability to meet your edges, to stretch your soul, to really like see who you become when everything feels like, you know, the shit's hitting the fan, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I really love that. And I have felt that thread in the community throughout, the authentic relating, that it's not here to pretend that we aren't here to pretend that there aren't, you know, shitty, awful days that you go through, but we're here for all of it. You know, we're here to support each other through all of it. And that's so powerful. It's so, so powerful. Yeah. Um, I'm curious. I'm going to be asking all my participants this question because I think it's a really interesting one. Everybody, I think, maybe has a different take on it. How do you define frequency? What is frequency to you?
When I think of frequency, I think of a radio station that's dialed into 111 FM. let's just imagine all of your wildest dreams are on 111 FM. It's like you want to find that sometimes it's a little bit crackly, you're like, oh, it's not quite. And then you reach that, like, woo, the clarity of the signal and the feeling that you get when you're in full alignment with the frequency of who you are and what you desire. It's when all of you is in alignment with the version of you that is already living the dream. Because past, present, future versions of ourselves are available at all times. And so how do we bring this future frequency of our higher self into the now? Is we dial into it now, regardless of what the circumstances are, regardless of whether you think you have the money in the bank yet or not. It's all frequency, it's all energy. So one thing that we teach in our community is really how to be a powerful creator and how to really cause the effect, to be the signal that life responds to. And 95% of the world is walking around in victim consciousness, waiting for the signal to change before they change. And so what we do in the community, we're the ones that are like, we're going to change the frequency of the radio station. We're responsible for what environment we align to every single day. So yeah, that's how I describe it.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. And I love your radio station analogy of, tuning to that 111 FM, because it feels that way to me too. That's kind of an alignment, which it feels like Healy is this beautiful, this beautiful technology that we both use that is foundational to this business that has brought us together, is the tool that helps us to, it holds the 111 frequency for us. It holds that and helps support us to align to it. Is that how you see it? Is that how your mental map of how that works?
Yeah. So the Healy is like the radio station. It's the dial that you turn, except it's way more intelligent because it taps into the quantum field and it can analyze your live energetic body, and it can deliver you specific individualized frequencies specific to you. So it's like your personal radio station is always walking around with you.
Yeah, totally. And so when we're in a place of, let's say, anger or grief or jealousy, and when you're in that place, it can actually feel really hard to shift. And so I'm curious, like, how does that, when you're in a place where, things aren't so good, it's kind of easy to talk about shifting into alignment. When things are better, it feels in a way much more reachable. But I also know that from my own experience, that when I feel, say, sadness, sometimes it's just like I just need to keep feeling the sadness to allow it to shift. And I'm curious what your own experience of, difficult emotions are, and how, what you do to help get yourself into that shifted frequency.
Yeah, I really resonate with this. And, being in the UK, I definitely feel a lot of the frequencies of fear and anger and frustration and guilt and all the things. And yeah, I do feel it and I don't stay there. So I'm a big, big advocate of moving the body. So I'll get my headphones in, I'll go for a walk and I'll just move my body, and I'll just, because again, everything is a choice. I believe we can shift our frequency with one thought. So yeah, obviously we can get the lessons, but I also, don't want to stay there. I'm always just like, right, how can I just come back to a place of neutrality and just come back to gratitude as soon as I can?
Yeah.
Of course, not spiritually bypassing, because there is always gold to excavate in the places that we reveal the darkness, the shadows. And I think it depends what Enneagram you are, quite honestly. Like I'm a 7.
Okay. Say more about that.
Enneagram 7, they're very, very joyful, bring a lot of positivity. That's the gift. The shadow side is sometimes they don't feel the emotions and sometimes can bypass things. And so 7s often usually relate to fours, because fours are people that really feel things and feel them and feel them and feel them and feel them, but they can kind of feel them a bit, it keeps them in that loop. So fours really are a good match for a seven, because sevens can bring the fours out of the shell. The fours can bring the sevens into more of a feeling. So yeah, I think it's also a bit individual too.
Yeah, I do think so. But hearing what you're saying about moving, um, because since we're energetic, I mean, I've found that myself as well, is that, you know, and even finding like being in we talk about this in medicine work, like sometimes you get in a fetal position and you'll kind of loop a bad feeling because you're like in this fetal position and the energy is kind of cycling or looping. And if you just stand up and move your body, you'll actually feel that energy shift because, of course, the flow of energy is really where the healing happens. We want that energy to flow. So like walking, running is one of my favorites. I'm a big trail runner. Swimming, anything like that. Yeah.
Anything in the wild, you in
Anything.
there,
Yeah.
watches, squirreling away in the branches of the tree.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And music, of course, right? Listening to music or tuning forks. Do you have a daily morning practice that you actually I'm assuming you do. What's your morning practice when you get up in the morning? How do you step into the energy for the day and really set your frequency for the day?
So of course I don't check my phone for at least 90 minutes in an ideal world.
Mm-hmm.
And I've really simplified things lately. I light my incense, I light my candle, and I pray.
Mm.
I pray. And I get my coach app with the Healy and I put my intention in. My intention, my prayer for the world, my intention for any business goals of what I want to put in. And I'm just in it. I'm in it. And this was a huge shift actually when I really understood the concept that creation is 80% energy, 20% action. So now I'm like, right, what are the things that I can do in that 80% that have the most impact? So we talk a lot about in our community living in the end result. So I spend a lot of my time praying for you, praying for my team, visualizing and feeling us linking arms, turning lights on around the world, thriving physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, being in overflow, having more than enough resources to live your dream life so that you feel supported. And like, I know you all have big missions on your heart to create retreat centers and support people and start foundations. So I just really feel the grid of that. And then I ask the guidance, what's the next step? And it might be, oh,
Mm.
message Holly, ask if she needs some support, do a live with Karen, so that informs the strategy. And then the action from that place just feels so good because I'm in the energy of it's already done, it's already done, it's already done. And that spaciousness to just contemplate is so important. People are so busy trying to rush from here to there to there. And again, subscribing to a toxic culture of we need to get somewhere, the horizon, the never ending horizon that just never ends.
That we never get there.
And being in the UK, I must admit, it feels a lot harder to break that because it's where I grew up and it's on my Saturn line in astrology. So there's a lot of like 3D pieces that are keeping me in the 3D. So I really have to be mindful of catching my energy, anchoring in the frequency. And then once I'm in that in the morning, it's a lot easier to then calibrate throughout the day.
Yeah. I love that answer. And I do some similar practices with candle and incense and prayer and yoga. What I really want to call out is the way that you're praying and setting intention for your team members. And this is such a different model, right? Like we're all in community together, supporting each other to be nourished and grow, and thrive financially, health wise, and in all the ways. And there's no competition, there's just elevation of the whole. And I really do feel that that's, we talk about is the new Aquarian business model. It's the community model. We could call it the indigenous tribal model. We could call it the way that humans actually are meant to work together in collaboration and cooperation and support. Imagine that if we're all praying for each other to support each other, how different that feels, right?
Yeah, and if you think about the quantum field, we're all connected. We're all connected in the unified field. So if I'm praying for you, I'm also praying for myself.
Yeah.
And it's just this, in today's day and age with we're in the Aquarian age. We're all becoming very telepathic. And so if there's a slight bit of competition or fear, like people can feel it. So I believe our job as leaders is to continue to come back to unconditional love and just blast the world with just love and peace and harmony and wishing people well, and people start to shift.
Yeah.
And we all have the power to do that, whether you're a leader or not, you're all leading yourselves. So yeah, it's a really great point. And it also makes me feel selfless. Like I'm not just creating a business for myself and my visions. It's a very small way of thinking. It's about moving from me to we. And, as a byproduct of me supporting you guys to fulfill your missions and your big dreams on your heart, and of course, all of mine are fulfilled, but that's just, on the way.
Yeah.
Way.
Yeah. It's about moving from me to we. That's it. I mean, in a nutshell, it's such a beautiful way of looking at the world and such an inspiration. I so agree with you that when we sit in on what you just said, when we sit in unconditional love, um, and positivity and joy, and we beam that out to the world, that's what the world needs. Like,
Mm,
that's what
mm,
everyone needs.
mm.
No one doesn't need that. Every single person listening. And we know that, like, without a shadow of a doubt. I know that, and that's the answer.
Mm.
you know um yeah, I just so honor you that you've come to that place, and that not only are you speaking about that, but that it is, you are that you emanate that in everything that you do. It's so obvious that you are a living embodiment of that, unconditional love for everyone, for all the people that touch your life. It's really, really respect you and admire you for that. It's such a gift. You're such a gift.
You're such a gift.
Mm.
Maybe we should do a whole podcast episode of what happens when we share a room together in Mexico.
Yes,
We could do
let's.
behind the scenes.
Yes. Kim and I were in Mexico together at the Healy conference, and we shared a room, and we had a lot of fun. And I imagine there will be more.
Yeah, and this is a huge piece of, I think, my and your medicine is just having fun, not taking ourselves too seriously. And
Totally.
life is too short and full of challenges to not smile and laugh and joke and be sexy and weird and just fully own all of who we are. And that to me is the most important frequency to dial into, is a frequency of authentic expression, like the truth of who you are and the stories that have got you to this character, this version of yourself that you're stood on, the unique soul imprint that you were birthed into. Like, not one of us has the same fingerprints, and
Yeah.
there's nearly 8 billion people.
Right.
So the world doesn't need more carbon copies of anyone. It's just like, you go be you. And that's something that I really love about this space and community, is all of us is welcome. And we gather in a common vision, but all uniquely encouraged to step in our unique expression.
You
Yeah.
know, 100%. I want to like asterisk, asterisk, asterisk that
Mm,
and highlight it, because when I came into this community, I could really feel that people were saying, like, you become your very best version of you. You know, we'll teach you different tools and how to work with frequency, but this is, you know, and this is not about you being a mouthpiece for the technology. This is about you actually doing whatever it is you absolutely, whatever your authentic expression is. Like for me, it's inner rewilding. That was before, you know, Healy came into my life, and it still is. But and this wild for frequency, the way it's evolving and emerging through me, is this little wild thing that I've got going on, right? And the kind of unique way that it comes through me. And you know, that's my gig. And you have these other, you know, beautiful ways that you express, um you know, how this frequency comes through you. And so that authentic relating piece is, it feels like the end result, this little magical box magnifies and supports whatever our authentic expression is. Don't you agree?
it does. It does. It's like this sexy little psychic that just sends you good vibes.
Mm.
It's like, girl, you need some vibes? I got you.
Yeah. And yeah, and the community, you know, and the community piece that, you know, because at the end of the day, I mean, as much as I love this little device, by itself without the community, you know, would not be nearly as powerful. So the amplification of it to me comes through the human side of the community, and the way that we, you know, no device can have a relationship the way one human has to another human.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah, I had a conversation with someone before this about how we've got the best of both worlds. You know, we're bridging the gap between science and spirituality. It's this futuristic technology that amplifies our ascension whilst also keeping us rooted in human connection and belonging. It's like,
Mhm.
wow, it's like how amazing to walk in both worlds as
Right.
we continue and progress. And I feel like actually the human to human connection, people like yourselves, it's really coming back to the rewilding. Like people are really coming back to their natural state in a way I've never seen before. It's really polarizing we just get to dance in both worlds. It's just so fun.
So fun.
So fun.
I know. I know. I 100%. I mean, I really feel that, um, you know, that coming back to the nature within, you know, and you can feel it from each person who's live, you know, you cross paths with. Like I can feel the way you've got this like juiciness, and like miracleness that comes through your energetic being. That's just, um, you know, very, very beautiful. I don't
Thank you.
know. Um,
Thank you.
yeah,
I like the word juicy. Like, yeah, let's live juicy, turned on lives that just feel so connected and alive and nourishing, where everyone just feels like they're thriving.
right.
You know, and you can only thrive when you're in the right environment.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to do it alone. We are supposed to collaborate, to weave, to connect. And we're coming back now to this realization that there is no competition. There is
Mhm.
nowhere to go. There is nothing you can win that could possibly, make you more successful than another human being, because we're all equal, all the same. So redefining what success is and really coming together to create a new future, a new paradigm, a new world where we get to experience heaven on earth now. Like, what if right now this is actually heaven. And we actually took the time to experience the magic and joy that's already here.
Yeah, I so resonate with that, and the way that that has showed up to me is really helping people to fall back in love with the world as it is. That we're
Mm,
not asking you to create to fall in love with some world at a future time when it finally is the world that we all imagined it to be, but we actually fall in love with the way things are now. That the only way to actually bring heaven on earth now is to fall in love with it now. Just like the only way to bring abundance into your life is to feel abundant now, right?
mm-hmm. Mm, exactly. It's now, now, now.
Mm-hmm.
And moving through wholeness is something that Healy's really supported me with, is moving from scarcity and lack to abundance and wholeness and remembrance.
Yeah.
Because there's always more money, there's always more this and more that. There will always be. So how do we find this dance of, I'm really happy and grateful where I am, and I came here to live a desire-led life. I came here to create. That's why I incarnated as a human, to experience these tangible, beautiful, luxurious experiences and places without the attachment. And that's, I think, the balance that I've got to, from being really attached to the material world to then going, oh, I don't need it. You know, eat, pray, love, go to Bali, live off barely nothing. And then now really embodied in the desire-led way of living, of like, what can I create? How can I serve? And yeah, having nice things, living in luxury, and why not? And why not be of service and do all the good things? And why is that? Why can that not also just be enough? So yeah, just really fully accepting the 3D reality, and God created everything, so why not experience everything?
Yeah. Well, you are the beautiful embodiment of a desired soul led life. You really are. And it's such an inspiration. And I'm so, so grateful to know you,
Mm.
to be learning from you. I'm curious if there's anything else that you just really want to share um, before we sign off. Something that's really in your heart that you want people to know that maybe they need to hear in this moment.
What does someone need to hear right now? I think something that I wish I would have known sooner is like, you're just a mirror, you're just enough. Like, just, you don't need to actually become anyone different. Just connect deeper with the truth of who you are. Know that every challenge has carved you into the version of yourself that you're stood on right now. I think most people are so caught up in becoming and learning and personally developing and instead of actually being. And so being in receivership of yourself, like if you had created the spaciousness to tune in and ask yourself what your soul deeply desired and how you can be of greater service, the answers will come. And so I wish I would have known sooner how to access my soul and listen, instead of being distracted with needing to know more and become more. Actually, my innate wisdom, my soul is so wise. If I choose to just give the ego a rest and just listen, all the answers are there all along.
Super beautiful. Mm. Yeah, just being, just getting off that treadmill of the never ending self improvement project, right? It's
Mhm.
such a trap when we really feel like there's always some never bet next version of ourselves that we need to become.
Yeah, I need to be a match to this to receive it. And I really don't think that's it. I think it's just remembering that you already are it and just letting it in.
Mhm.
Yeah, of course, we can choose to speak with more clarity and make better decisions in what we wear and how we show up. And ultimately, we were born so incredibly powerful. So it's just removing the layers, removing the masks, and just staying true to who you are. And all the answers will be revealed.
Amen. That's a great place to conclude. I love it.
Yeah.
Yay. Thank
Oh,
you for your beauteous wisdom that you're sharing here, for all your gifts. Um,
thank
really so
you.
deeply appreciate you. So thank you. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. How do people reach you if they want to know more about, how to connect with you, work with you?
Yeah. So just Instagram, Kim Mellor underscore KIMMELLOR underscore. Love hanging out on the gram. Yeah, check me out over there.
Great. I'll put that link in your handle in the show notes. And, yeah, if anybody wants to know anything more about the frequency technology, you can reach out to Kim or myself, and we would be happy to tell you more about it and invite you into our beautiful community we've been talking about. So, yeah. All right. Well, signing off, everybody, for now. Take good care, and we will see you soon.